Phil, it was a fantastic win on Good Friday at Rochdale, but it's all about taking that into Monday night.
Yeah, there was a lot of people talking to me about, you know, this 2-game series and would I take 4 points from the 2 games. Well, quite simply, when you do the hard part and go to Rochdale and you win the game, and win the game with a sort of gritty determination. You know, it was one of them where we played football at the right times, we defended well at the right times, and we scored goals at the right times, if truth be known. You know, the first goal broke the back of the game to a certain extent. We then went into a little bit of free fall for about 10-15 minutes, but we got ourselves together, recomposed ourselves, and then played our way into the game again. Rode well up when they hit the crossbar, but you know, the second goal was great. Fantastic counter-attacking play, and the timing of that just before half-time was brilliant for us to get the boys in at half-time and just readjust one or two things, which we did do, and quickly came out the second half and put the game to bed. To be truthful, at 3-0, I couldn't see Rochdale coming back into it. We tested the keeper on a couple of occasions after that. Lenny hit the crossbar. They huffed and puffed to a certain extent, but we really did make them look fairly ordinary, and we need to take that quality of performance into the next game, because that's the most important part now. The next game is not the last one. The last one was fantastic. We'll take a lot of plaudits from it and we'll take a lot of positives from it, but we need to take the performance into the next game.
In a way, it's similar to when we beat Oxford and then faced Torquay, in that we might have to play a different way to win against Accrington on Monday.
I think we said to the players on Wednesday, Thursday, and obviously before the game, that it would be a 2-game series, a 2-game game plan, as it were, and we made the changes accordingly against Rochdale. We knew it would be probably a physical encounter, probably a game of football at the same time, and Rochdale not being the greatest service in the world to be able to get the ball down, but if you want to play, you can play, and all of them things were put into place with the team selection. And we went back to our tried and tested 4-3-3, and we threw in a sort of an unknown commodity with regards to Jacob Murphy. We know what he was capable of out there. On the counter side, it's like Jamal Loza. His first game was on TV live in front of the audience of the second division. Every manager in the country must have gone, wow, this kid can play. And then all of a sudden defences tighten up on him and man mark him and stop him from being who he was that night. That'll probably happen again to Jacob Murphy, if truth be known. You know, we'll have watched him on Saturday and realised that he's got assets and assets at any level, pace, good close quality in terms of his control, and also can see a pass, you know, highlighted by the Barry Core goal. A lot of second division wide players, wingers, would have had a crash at the goal in that situation, but he's had the composure and the ability more than anything else to pick his head up and have a look for his strike partner and rolled a Barry Core pass that put the ball into an empty net. So they're qualities of a higher division, and you know, I turned straight away, strangely enough, to the 3 strikers that we had on the bench when the ball went in the back of the net, and I said, you 3 have been crying out for something like that all season, which they have done. Kevin Hurst put things on a plate, but he's done it with great crosses and great passes. That was a simple slide rule pass across the face of the goal because he's playing with his head up. So these are assets that opposition managers will be looking at and thinking, we have to close this down. If that frees up a little bit of space for somebody else, then that's a team playing well. So you know, we've got good assets in our team and at the right end of the pitch, and obviously the good assets that we've got at the other end of the pitch is again keeping a clean sheet, and we'll have to be on our mettle again against Accrington Stanley, because they're fighting for their lives, and you know, they look safe, but I don't think James Beattie will be sitting back and resting on his laurels. But you know, he'll be fighting for the 3 points the same way as we are. So there's no free games between now and the end of the season. Every team will be scrapping for the spoils, and so will we.
If results win our way on Monday, it could all but be sealed. But it is a case of playing as good as we did on Friday.
Well, I want to improve year in year out, and as you pointed out to me, I was mistakenly thinking that 63 points was our last season's total, and it wasn't. It was 61, so we're already past it on Friday, and we compounded that with a great performance and gone to 65 now. So we're now 4 points ahead of what we were last year, which is testimony to the players with 3 games to go. The quality that we can produce. There's still 9 points to play for. I'd still like to finish with as maximum points total going into the playoffs, with momentum, in a good place mentally, in a good place physically, and in a good place from the mindset of winning games of football. So there's still lots and lots to play for. I'll not be taking my foot off the gas, and neither will, you know, Dave Penny and Graham Coughlin and the players. You know, we'll be doing everything we possibly can to win all 3 games.
Could there be changes possibly made, because 2 games in 4 days is quite an ask?
It is quite an ask at this stage of the game, this stage of the season. You know, we're now 43 games into it now. I've just been going through the consistency of team selection first and foremost, consistency of performance, consistency of clean sheets. All of them things are playing a part in this moment, you know, and this moment being the fact that we're full of confidence, and we've just been to Deepdale and won to Deepdale to Scotland and won 3-0. So with that in mind, you know, you've got to make sure that the players don't take their foot off the gas. You know, we've got to be at them tomorrow on the training ground. They win today again, Easter weekend. It's not an Easter weekend to us. They'll get time with their families at the end of the season, and today and tomorrow is all about preparation for Monday. And there possibly could be changes, you know, with regards to keeping the thing, or keeping the place and the team fresh.
We had 7,500 there for the AFC Wimbledon game, and I know afterwards you were disappointed that we hadn't picked up the win for them. I'm sure there'll be a big crowd again, and they can play an important part in it. It's about working with each other, isn't it, the players and the fans? Yeah,
we've won 4 out of 5, and unfortunately for me, as you say, 7,500 turn up to the AFC Wimbledon game, sandwiched between 2 away performances and two 6-pointers. You know, we'll go to Cheltenham and win that game, and that gets us sort of back into the playoffs and back, you know, with that solid performance and solid momentum that's kept us in the playoffs all season. And then we'll go to Rochdale. In between the two, we played home at the AFC Wimbledon and put a great, not a great performance, but we put in a performance worthy of a win. That was the downside. You know, the punters must have gone home thinking, how didn't we win that game? Because I certainly was when I sat and watched it on the Monday morning and witnessed 27 shots and 27 crosses. If we do that on Monday, I fully expect to win the game. If we do that with the quality that we produced against Rochdale, I fully expect to win the game by a lot more than the Rochdale game. But there'll still be that resilience, I should imagine, from the ranks of the Accrington Stanley team. But as far as we're concerned, you know, I'm going to focus, and we're going to focus on our performance. And if we provide the kind of performances as what we have done of late, then there shouldn't be any problem.